I'm Dusty, nothing here is musty, and we had a hell of a good time riding the trails in these two machines in, of all places, Pioneer, Tennessee. Thank you guys very much for checking out this video. Today we're talking about the new 2022 Honda Pioneer models. I have the Trail and the Forest, and I got some seat time with both of them today on some absolutely gorgeous trails. Now, Ride Royal Blue has been on my bucket list forever, and when I got the opportunity to come down here and ride these machines at Royal Blue, it was kind of a no-brainer. So full disclosure, Honda did reach out to me and they invited me to this event. However, they're not paying me and they're not telling me what to say. So everything that you're gonna hear is my opinion, and it is my opinion of riding both of these machines. One of the other cool things is I'm gonna give you my perspective of comparing these in a future video to my 19 Pioneer. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna put a couple cards talking about why I picked the Honda Pioneer originally and my top 10 trail upgrades. So make sure you watch to the end of the video for links for those videos. I got to spend my morning and then a little bit of the afternoon with the Trail model. And what was cool for 22 is they upgraded both models. Now they still have the base model with power steering and all the things that we know and love about the Honda, the transmission, the great drivetrain, but they made everything better for 22. This thing on the trails was just absolutely amazing. However, if you're a work guy and you need something to work around, do a little bit of play, the Forest was really cool as well. Maybe you're hunting, you're fishing, you're hauling more stuff, the self-leveling shocks might be better for you. Now, not only did they upgrade some things that we'll talk about in a little bit, but they have tons of accessories that are available as well. So in the description, I'll put a link to all the different accessories that are available right from the factory. And what's cool about those accessories is they honor the factory warranty. Let's talk about the Trail first, because that's my favorite. This is the Trail Edition. Not only does it look really good, but it rides really good. They updated the graphics for 22. So we have kind of a painted finish and along with new graphics all the way around. And the pictures when I first saw this, I didn't really know how it would look, but in person, it actually looks really, really sharp. 14-inch aluminum wheels, Fox shocks, which are adjustable. And what was cool is that we were kind of playing around with these and we found that setting 2 was kind of the sweet spot for the trail riding we were doing today. But just being able to adjust right here to adjust your ride was awesome. Now, another cool upgrade that they did on both machines for 22, but I'll talk about it since I'm right here, is they beefed up the A-arms up front. It's now a two mounting system, whereas previously it was one long bolt, whereas now they kind of beefed it up and it has 2 separate mounting bolts for that upper A-arm, which is a huge thing that the people have been asking for. I know there are some upgrades that the aftermarket has kind of done to solve this issue, but now that Honda took that feedback from the customer and they incorporated it into the model on both machines, on all machines, is just awesome. On the cab on this one, we now have an interior light. So let's say you drop something in the middle of the night, rolling around, whatever, you have a light on the bottom. It does come in at 1003 or 5, meaning that you can either have the bench for 3 passengers up front or the 5 with the quick flip seats, which is one of the reasons why I picked out the Pioneer in the first place. One of the other things that was new to me was the four-wheel drive, as my machine just has the standard. And we got to check that out today on some of the rough parts of the trail. And I'll be honest, I was a little leery of how well it would work. Like, can the computer really decide better than me? An expert driver. Okay, probably can decide better than me. And there was definitely some parts in the trail where we threw it in four-wheel drive and you could actually feel where it was engaging where it needed to, letting it go where it needed to, and you were able to pull yourself right to the line that you wanted to when I was riding the trail. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty awesome. I almost felt like we were three wheels down for a second there, but that was pretty cool. Additionally, we also had the hill start assist, which we all know, like if you're on a hill, you have to hold the brake, give it some gas, let off, and then go, whereas this, you just push the button, hold it for 4 seconds, they have a couple seconds, then you just hit the gas and you go right up the hill. And that's on both models actually, but that was my first experience with it. So I really liked the Trail. I really enjoyed riding it. We'll talk about comfort and seat heat, common on both machines. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Now this is the Forest model, and you can tell that because it has this cool camouflage finish. But the reality is, if you were a hunter, fisherman, you're looking for something outside, maybe a little bit more work than play, then you might want to go with the Forest model. Now, cool things about this that they upgraded: 14-inch aluminum wheels. They're not quite the fancy polished ones on the Trail, but they have 14-inch aluminum wheels now standard on this model. Now, the shocks are the self-leveling rear, which I did have those on my Pioneer, and when I use those for like wood, chores, stuff like that around the house, you drive for a little bit, and there's some sort of like magic fluid rod cool system going on in there that kind of beefs it up as you're driving with a heavier load, which is kind of cool. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but well, I'm not going to make that joke. Never mind. Anyways, moving back to the Forest. All sorts of accessories available. We also have rear cargo lights now because they figured, hey, we're going to be working, might need to illuminate, see what you got going on. It also has a 12-volt accessory outlet in the back too. So if you have to charge something, maybe you have to run a sprayer or some sort of implement or a flashing light, slow vehicle sign, whatever is specific for your case, this has it covered. Winches. Everybody loves to have some winches, and both of them have a 4,500-pound winch. And it's not just any off-the-wall cheap winch. It is a Warn built-in right from the factory, which means it honors the warranty. It's installed from the factory. And what's nice with the bumper, they upgraded the bumper as well. You have easy access to the lock and unlock. The fair lead's all right here. And then on the dash is the rocker for the winch. So super cool. While I'm right here, they did upgrade the bumper and the radiator as well. So it's a larger fan, it's more airflow, which some people complained about. I didn't have any issues, and my 19 still absolutely rocks. I've never overheated it, but they did improve the radiator and the bumper flow as well for the radiator, so it should keep those machines a little cooler. Speaking of cooling, what about your buns? Let's talk about your heated buns. One of the complaints about the Pioneer is the seat heat. Now, I look at it as in the fall and winter, I have built-in seat heaters. However, on a hot summer day like it's been now, sometimes sitting on the seat can be a little warm, and they did make an improvement. Now, they still get warm, don't get me wrong. You're still sitting right basically above the engine, but in 22, they not only improved the seat, it's actually a new seat from a new manufacturer, so it's a cloth that wraps around, and they also did upgrade the pans. So instead of that rubber heat liner in between the seats, we now have these rubber pans as well. And what's cool is that those 22 parts are retroactive. They fit all the previous years. So I actually ordered a new seat and the new pan, and you do have a little bit of storage as well, but it might get a little toasty. Power steering. One of my favorite things about the Honda Pioneer, and there's a lot of side-by-sides that have it, is power steering, that electronic power steering. They upgraded it in 22 with a new power steering unit, and I didn't know how much of a difference I would actually be able to tell, but you can tell. It's smoother, it's easier to steer, it has a self-center, so it feels more like a car where you kind of let go and it kind of wants to come back to center. It is an improved power steering, so I really liked that upgrade. That was something I noticed right away. The layout is a little bit different as well. Mine had this huge warning panel, and then it had the shifter and mode, but there really wasn't a great spot to add switches and stuff. Now, aftermarket, and obviously I modified mine, but they're putting all of the switches now right here. So we have our headlights, automatic manual transmission sport mode, that hill assist, and then we also have the accessory switches. Ones that they include from the factory include the winch, the cab and cargo light, but then they also have pre-knockout pockets, so you can add your own switches as you need. So if you wanted to add a light bar, if you wanted to add whips or whatever it might be, already pre-done. And there is the fuse panel accessory as well that you can get from Honda that makes wearing those accessories easy. So that was pretty cool. I like how they're thinking about the aftermarket and like what people want to modify and giving them accessories right from the factory that can do a lot of the things that the aftermarket has been kind of, trying to fit and make a product available. One of the accessories we got to play around with today was this GPS unit from Garmin. Now what was cool is that every one of the units in the group had one of these, and this little antenna here means that they communicate from module to module. So not only did you get to see where you were on the map, on the trail, and they had the route preloaded for us, but it also live updated on where everybody else was. It showed little dots and little colors knowing where everybody was, so you can kind of see if somebody was straggling behind. There's no cell phone service needed, so even if you're in an area without cell coverage, these will still work to communicate with everybody in the ride. So I thought that was kind of neat. Now, one thing I am interested in to see in the future is what kind of map support or trail support there is. One of the things I like doing with some of the apps is that I like exploring different parts I might be traveling to, and I can see what the trails are. Obviously, it's not quite as convenient on something like this, and I'm also curious to see how many trails and what kind of updates and stuff that this system gets. So this is my first impression, but it was daylight bright. I was able to see it all day, even with goggles in the dust. Touchscreen worked even with gloves. So all in all, my first impressions were pretty good, but I definitely want to know how it's going to work in the future and how it's going to hold up. Honda also upgraded the motor performance, and that increased not only the towing capacity, but the payload capacity as well. They also mapped the shifting, so the shift points were a little bit more spread out, so I noticed going up the gears and even in downshifting that the shift pattern was improved. It was more smooth, it was a little bit more automotive-like, and I really liked that going on various parts of the trail. Now, one thing about the Pioneer, and this was the fact with my 19, is that the throttle isn't quite as smooth, meaning it takes a little bit of finessing to engage the throttle smoothly. So definitely one thing that you have to practice before you hit the trails is feathering the throttle. My Throttle Max accessory that I added to my Pioneer, I really did miss on this trail ride. I was impressed. Like I said, if I had to pick one for trail riding and a little bit more fun, I would definitely pick the trail, and I could notice a difference. Those shocks really did make an enhancement to the riding experience. But the Forest model was no slouch. I love Honda Pioneer stuff. I'm a little biased. I get that because I own a Pioneer. I love everything that I've done to my Pioneer. Overall, these are really, really good machines. And one of the cool things was that my co-pilot all day was one of the engineers from Honda. He was actually a chassis engineer. And it was just really cool having conversations with him and how much they cared about customer feedback. They really appreciated that customer loyalty, and they took all of the feedback that they got from customers to heart to try to make improvements to the machine. And we talked about some other stuff that he asked me not to share on camera, so I'm going to respect that. But I have to say I was really impressed with a lot of the information I heard about the machines and the company and kind of the culture within Honda too, so that was really kind of cool. I think that is going to wrap up this video. My trail riding experience here at Ride Royal Blue was amazing. If you're into riding, you definitely need to plan a trip down here. I can't wait to come back. Like, this was A+ trail riding at its best. What do you guys think? Leave a comment in the comment section below of what you guys think. What do you guys ride? What's your favorite mods? What do you like to do? And if you have any questions about this or anything side-by-side or firearms related, go ahead and send an email to the email address shown below. That is theqa@gunsandtactics.com. Love to hear what you guys think going from there. Thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great day. And as promised, here are a couple of links to some videos that I have done. Click over here if you want to see my top 10 trail upgrades for your Honda Pioneer. Click over here if you want to see why I picked the Honda Pioneer to begin with in the first place. And upcoming, I'm also going to be doing some content on an update 2 years later of real world use with my Honda. Take care.